Going. So, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's morning. We made it. Give thanks. I am so glad that y'all have decided to join me again for another So Fresh So CLE. I am your host. My name is Eris. I am born and bred from Cleveland, Ohio. And this is the end of the third week of So Fresh So CLE. And I'm just so happy that I've been able to just share my mornings with you all 3 days a week because it really helps me set my tone. It helps me keep things focused. Helps keep me in the know about what's going on because I want to be able to share that on to you all. So without further ado, it is First World Friday. I've been asking folks to share with me their first world problems, and so I'm going to share a couple with y'all before we get into the news of the day. So one of the most hilarious ones that I got was from my homeboy Justin. He said, I was once a woke white guy before it was a thing, which included devouring everything Dave Chappelle, Kanye, and Jay released. And now he doesn't just know what to do anymore. And so that's hilarious to me because, I think we're all struggling with what to do with these folks, especially these black men who choose to evolve over time. But that's another conversation for another day. So thanks for sharing that, Justin. Liz Ruiz said, people think I'm white, but I'm Colombian and Puerto Rican. So I always get the no offense when someone is talking about white people. Well, Liz, I will say, you know how race and ethnicity and all those things intersect. So, just keep putting some respect on your name, boo. My little sister Ariana said, no first world problems this week, just first world solutions. The prayers of the righteous avail of much. My daughter decided to pursue the clarinet instead of the violin, I think. Can't tell me my God ain't real. So if y'all don't know, my little sister, she has two beautiful, wonderful children, and my niece Nisha was considering playing the violin, and my sister was just not having it because just the rehearsals would be tragic. And so hopefully I have a niece that's playing the clarinet, and I can go to all of her band concerts and be that obnoxious auntie that posts videos real close. And so, a couple more before we move on. My homegirl Danita said she's so salty I had to break a $50 bill to pay for something that was $5.02. I'm looking at the cashier like, bitch, you don't have 2 pennies I can borrow till next time? That is real petty though. Like, ain't nobody got no pennies to balance that out. I don't even know why we still really have pennies, but that is what it is. A couple more. My kid ate all my Pop-Tarts. Somebody's first world problem is I have a paid day off tomorrow and I will be at the spa all day. I mean, I would love to have that first world solution. So thanks y'all so much. Keep those first world problems coming. We're going to talk about more of those next week. So let's get into the news of the day. So, in the Fairfax neighborhood, I was just talking about the Fairfax neighborhood last week because there's a new veterinary clinic there. But also in the Fairfax neighborhood and in those surrounding neighborhoods, there's been a really, really hard time with having access to Wi-Fi. And they've pretty much called this digital redlining. And so there's been some work within the Fairfax community to be able to increase the Wi-Fi signals in those areas. I do remember back when internet providers were popping up, it would be so difficult when I was living in certain neighborhoods to be able to find multiple different web provider services to even be able to compare and contrast. You kind of just had to go with the one that was available. And so I'm glad that this is finally being taken seriously and some changes are being made. So you can check that story out on NPR. Over in Philly, I know I'm bumping from Cleveland to National and back and forth, but I'm just going the way I put my notes in today. In Philly, they are attempting to open what is called an opioid safe house, a place where people who want to use opioids in a safe and sterile condition and environment can go and do that. What this bumps up against is all of the 1980s crack house laws saying that, anybody congregating to use drugs together would be held accountable. So this is a very, very interesting balance because in the 80s when this crack epidemic was popping the way that it was, and black and brown folks were primarily the ones who were being affected by it, we were so criminalized for it. And people are trying to make up those mistakes in a sense with this opioid crisis and really see it as a public health issue, mostly because of the types of demographics of people who are being impacted by it. But I believe what we are going to have to see is this reckoning of all this undoing that has been done to marginalize folks further. So you can't really fix your people if you're not fixing all people. And so we're going to keep watching that. I think that's a very interesting story. I heard that one on NPR as well. So news reports say that Odell is ready to go this upcoming Sunday. They said that he had a slight hip injury. It is what it is. I'm ready to see what we're going to do against those Titans. So go Brownies. Let's go. So Chick-fil-A, if y'all don't know, is the competing, I be really tapering off the trash I can say. I really just should say all the trash, but I'm reeling myself in because I want to make this accessible for a multitude of people. But Chick-fil-A is opening out in Solon, y'all, and people are camping out. White people are camping out for fried chicken. So I just, want that to be known that is happening, that people are standing in line for chicken, and is catching news, and nobody is shaming them for it. They have some very nice tents and all of those things. And so once again, it just goes to show that blatant perception of people being able to enjoy the things that they love, and we all should be able to have access to it. All right. A couple of more things. Insecure season 4 is brewing. If you're not following folks who are Insecure cast members or the Insecure show page itself on Instagram, go and look at those beautiful brown women. And I'm so excited for season 4. So check that out on HBO when it's time. And then last but not least, I have 2 stories where we're just going to talk about just some LGBTQ issues. Mostly those B issues, because I know I am just an audaciously out bisexual woman. This month is bi visibility, so I'm going to continue to be visible about that. So one, B Love, who is a black transgender woman, she was found burned in her car in Clewiston, Florida. She was shot with her hands tied behind her back. This woman was tortured. And so I'm just going to hold space for a moment for this woman, yet another black trans woman that we've lost. And I would be remiss if I did not put this at the forefront. Because, I continue to see people love to get on Facebook and love to get on social media and have these conversations about, if you are a straight person and you're attracted to a trans woman, does that make you gay? No, it doesn't make you gay. And the fact that you would even post a question like that would mean that you're just, one, not looking to seek to understand or seek to build community. You're seeking to create a different divide. And what people don't understand is that those jokes end up leading to situations like where B Love is murdered and tortured. Because of people's lack of insecurity, lack of knowledge, and lack of willingness to know. And so what it really comes down to, folks, if you really have issues with people around their gender, around their sexual orientation, what you really need to be asking yourself is, do you really want equality in this world, especially for folks who are marginalized, or do you really just want privilege? Because, just call it what it is. At a certain point, we're going to have this type of reckoning, because we have to be willing to see people as whole and as human if we are really going to do this work of healing. And so we all owe it to ourselves to live in a world where we can be audaciously whole, where we can really just be ourselves unapologetically, and I will continue to say that. It hurts my heart. It really, really hurts my heart. And if you are willing to laugh at a joke, you're willing to turn a blind eye to people who continue to be murdered and harmed for choosing to show up in the world the way that they see themselves. And that's not up for debate. And it's just that simple. And so I'm sending all of my love and all of my energy to be loved and every person who has loved her and who will continue to say her name. This will not be in vain. We're inching towards 20 trans women who have died in this country since the beginning of this year. It's only September. The majority of those women have been trans women of color. All right. So this other thing I want to bring up is a study that was just done, and it says that gay and bisexual people smoke more weed than heterosexuals, according to a study. So analyzing responses for over 125,000 Americans adults across the country, researchers found that 26% of lesbians said they consumed medical marijuana in the past year, while 40% of bisexual women said they did so. Only 10% of heterosexual women reported consuming medical marijuana in the past year. So I'm going to pause there first. The queer community is stressed out. We have chronic pain. We have limited access to health care. And so things like medical marijuana gives us an opportunity to be able to take care of some of those ailments without having to really interface with the medical community at large, because a lot of folks really are looking towards holistic approaches to healing their bodies. And, you know, being queer is stressful. And most of the people who are identified as queer also have some other intersections as well. But this also backs up, what this also shows, the 40% number of bisexual women who are using medical marijuana. What it also highlights is the fact that bisexual folks smoke 3 times more than straight folks and gay folks combined. And so, you know, we continue to be these silent majorities that no one is really turning their eyes and their attention to. So I'm always happy when I get to see more representation for bi folks in research. It unfortunately eliminated or did not account for trans folks in this study, and I continue to see that in research as well. And so, yeah. The other part of the study says, meanwhile, 29% of gay men reported using medical cannabis in the past year, compared to 30% of bisexual men and 17% of heterosexual men. And so that number is about on par. So guys are pretty much using medical marijuana at the same rate. And so the conclusion just rates that medical marijuana may differently impact sexual minority individuals, which is what I just said, particularly bisexual women. And then the findings demonstrate the need for states enacting medical marijuana to consider potential differential impacts on queer communities. And so I thought that was a really good study. And it really, really begins to highlight just not necessarily the disparity, but the differences in just how we show up in the community. Bi folks continue to be an uprising group of people who are being out as audaciously bisexual and queer. So I'm always excited to hear some of those things. So I'm going to go and check these comments right quick. Kinsey Regina, I'll say your name the way you put it on Facebook on purpose. The first 100 people to camp out from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. get entered into a drawing for a free year of food. Oh, so that's why everybody's camping out at Chick-fil-A. I don't know if I want to eat Chick-fil-A for a year. You know, that much homophobia can't be good for the skin or the cholesterol. So with that, I wish y'all a really, really great weekend. I just want to shout out my homegirl China Cochran for hosting me in Detroit for work yesterday. While I made sure I had a safe place to lay my head and some warm food to eat after it finally showed up. It was a delicious dinner. So shout out to that. And, you know, I hope you all have a great, prosperous, powerful weekend. And that's all I got for you. Be beautiful, be blessed. Peace. Till next time, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in to So Fresh So CLE. Once again, I'm your host, Eris. I hope that you've enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment, because I can't do this without you. Peace. Vinay Media, connecting the dots.